Welcome back to the Citizens Defending Freedom show. Coming up today, we will hear from CDF's new Georgia attorneys on their opinions on the Trump indictments. A Texas school district denied funding for the troubling organization Girls Inc. And lastly, we sat down with Clay Clark, founder of the Reawaken Tour. All of that and more is ahead on today's show. But first, before we get started, head to our website, citizensdefendingfreedom.com, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any of our content. We had the pleasure of sitting down with two new attorneys who will be working alongside Citizens Defending Freedom. Catherine leads her firm's criminal and trial practices, and Alex is an expert in constitutional rights litigation and civil cases. Take a look at what they had to say regarding Trump's indictments.
Well, and this is an example of how the political process has intersected with the criminal defense world. President Trump has been facing cases all around the country, and then most recently in Georgia, he and 18 other folks were indicted in a RICO case, which is racketeering-inspired corrupt organizations. And so it is alleging that President Trump led a conspiracy to overturn the election and took actions in Georgia based on that. The client that I'm representing, Jeffrey Clark, was a Department of Justice official who did nothing more than draft a letter that was circulated within the Department of Justice talking about significant concerns with Georgia elections. And this was based on things like the Ligon report that came out of the Georgia Senate, which contained testimony from individuals around Georgia about irregularities that they had seen in their local elections. And so that letter has formed the basis for an attempted false statements charge. So it's a pretty wild world where Department of Justice officials talking to each other about proposed plans can somehow constitute a crime in an entirely different state.
Mm-hmm. I've heard people talk, if you could go into detail about this, that it's getting into very dangerous waters when past presidents are entering the legal system.
It definitely is, but I will note we've been in dangerous waters for some time, looking back to 2001 and the Patriot Act and the way that it limited a lot of our rights and gave the government additional powers.
What is the Patriot Act?
The Patriot Act was passed in 2001 in response to September, the attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. And basically it expanded government's powers of surveillance pretty extensively. And it also came along with something called the National Defense Authorization Act, which actually provided for indefinite detention of American citizens, which is unconstitutional, of course. And it was passed in a climate of fear and concern for safety, which is often where our liberties are most at risk. But that's when we got the Department of Homeland Security, the Transportation Security Administration, which, those did not exist in the previous century. Those are massive expansions of government power. And so we're really coming to this current prosecution of President Trump and others in a world where prosecutors have a lot of power, and we've been giving it to them for the past decades. So yes, it is very dangerous territory, but there have been warning signs that frankly both Republicans and Democrats have ignored as they have given more power to government in Congress after Congress.
That is just a glimpse into our conversation involving the current climate of the legal world from a conservative perspective. To check out the full podcast, head over to our website. Now, a Texas school district has made the right decision in denying the renewal of a contract for Girls Inc. Tarrant County School District denied the extension of $115,000 to the nonprofit organization Girls Inc. From the outside, Girls Inc. appears to be inspiring young girls to be strong, smart, and bold while encouraging STEM. When you look further into the website, blog posts, and social media, you will see ties to the LGBTQ+ agenda. You will also find this organization within the school system promoting both abortion and teens transitioning genders, which are both banned in Texas. Citizens Defending Freedom Tarrant County sent out a call to action for parents to be informed and to comment at Commissioner's Court. The commissioners ultimately voted 3-2 against renewing the contract. We are here with Kenya, Director of Tarrant County Citizens Defending Freedom. Kenya, could you please elaborate on Girls Inc. and the taxpayer-funded programs that they are implementing in your county?
The local chapter of Girls Inc. in Tarrant County is denying that they are implementing any of these programs, but they are affiliated with a parent Girls Inc. On the national level. And when you look up their organization, They partner with LGBTQ Saves, which is an organization that promotes the gender transition of children. They promote abortion. They promote what they call menstrual equality and the idea that men can menstruate. The list goes on. They teach girls of color and LGBTQ girls that they are unfairly harmed by school discipline policies. They negatively portray police officers. The list goes on about the national chapter, and we just can't be affiliated as a county with, especially the two things that are illegal in Texas, abortion and gender modification of children. When the National Parent Organization of Girls Inc. is promoting those things, we cannot support them with tax dollars.
Thank you, Kenya. Next, have you heard of the Reawaken Tour? We talked to founder Clay Clark earlier. Take a look.
Well, we've sold out every one we've done. Now, that's, I think what's happening, Lindsay, is I think there's a certain group of people that want to know the truth. I don't know that percentage, but let's just say you had a street sign and it said, Taylor Swift concert, Chiefs game that way, truth this way. So Kansas City Chiefs, Taylor Swift that way, and truth that way. I think about 1 out of 100 people go to the truth. And then 99% want to go with the Taylor Swift and the Chiefs concert thing. That's what I think. That's how I view it. And I think that, if you had a big sign that said Chiefs, Taylor Swift, Super Bowl, Madonna, MTV Awards, Barbie movie, about 99% of people go that way. And if you said truth, freedom, God, about 1% go that way. And over time, I'm seeing the number go up in terms of people that want to know the truth. But I think that people have been so consistently lied to that a lot of times the truth doesn't seem even relatable to folks. So when you tell somebody that, hey, look, there's a patent for the system and method for testing for COVID-19 that I did not patent. It's a patent. You can look it up. Just type into Google, system and method for testing for COVID-19. And you show it to them, or and you say, hey, why does Bill Gates have a patent, W02020060606? And you show them truth, and even though they see the truth, it doesn't feel good. And I think a lot of people are trying to live their best life now as opposed to live as a living sacrifice for Christ. And so that's sort of what our events are doing. We present people with the facts and truth, and some people don't necessarily know what to do with that. So I would say that our events are selling out because we are one of the only events, or I think we are the only event where you can A, name your price, and B, where it's just unapologetic truth.
This week's verse is Psalm 16:8. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. As you can see, Citizens Defending Freedom is doing important work. Help us today in our fight to protect children and push back against radical ideologies. Please visit citizensdefendingfreedom.com where you can learn more about our organization and generously contribute to our cause. Have a great day and make sure to like us on social media and tell your friends about the great things we're doing. God bless.